Good morning. How are you? It's very early in the morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning in La Jolla, California. I have a very busy day today. I'm doing some television in the morning on You Are the Universe, Discovering Yourself, Cosmic Self, and Why It Matters. So it's going to be a long day because tonight I also am giving a lecture at University of California, San Diego, on the same topic, and apparently the event is sold out, but it's not going to finish my day till about 11, 12 midnight, and then tomorrow I'm going to Los Angeles to record and film Dr. Phil, and then on my way to Kansas City. So just a little bit of a roundup about my schedule for the next 24 hours. So today's question is from Derek Whitney, who's pretty active actually on our discussion boards at discoveringyourcosmicself.com. And Derek asks, this question may be beyond our ability to know, but I feel it is worth pondering. Similar to your asking what came before the Big Bang, I'd like to ponder what comes after our sun fades into oblivion and life as we know it ceases on Earth. Welcome any thoughts. Namaste. Derek Whitney. By the way, just like you are posing questions to me, I and Menas Kafatos are also posing questions to you on the same website, discoveringyourcosmicself.com. So check in on the site and see if you can answer the question or give your own opinion as well. Okay, now back to the question that Derek asks. So what happens to life as we know it after our sun basically fades into oblivion and life as we know it ceases on Earth? Okay, now, you have to realize that whatever I say is going to be a human construct, because the basis of this book, You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self, and Why It Matters, is that the universe that you and I experience is a human construct. So just recognize the universe that you and I experience is a human construct. What's a construct? It's a model. It's a story. It's, to go even further, it's a myth. Now, myth is not meant to be in a derogatory sense. Myth simply means a story created around experience and an interpretation of experience. So the universe as we know it is created around an experience. What is raw experience? Raw experience is sense perceptions, sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. So sense perceptions include sound, texture, hardness, softness, shape, color, taste, smell. This is very basic experience. So if I asked you what is this, you would say this is a book. But actually, if I were to deconstruct book, because book is a concept around a very fundamental experience. And what's that fundamental experience? It's color, whatever you want to call that color, but it's color and it's shape, and therefore it's form. So form is the activity of seeing, and seeing is the activity of a witnessing awareness. So in reality, this is made out of witnessing awareness. This is true of your body. If I asked you, what are you looking at? You would say you're looking at the picture or a video of Deepak Chopra. But that's a human construct. What are you actually looking at is a shape, colors. That's it. Okay, shape and colors. And what are shapes and colors? They have no location in space-time. They are modified forms of awareness itself. So the fact that you're looking at Deepak Chopra is a human construct. The fact that you're listening to the voice of Deepak Chopra means there's a voice that is there, whether it's heard or not. That's impossible. Okay? The voice only comes into your awareness when you, as awareness, modify yourself as the experience of the voice. Okay? So the voice of Deepak Chopra is a human construct. Otherwise, it's just sound. Okay? Like that, every sense experience is interpreted into a human construct. And this human construct means everything that we experience, that we call mind. Mind is a human construct around thoughts and emotions that we call body. Body is a human construct around sense perceptions. And you can extend that. You can say sun, moon, stars, galaxy. Those are human constructs for sense experiences which are modifications of your own consciousness. Okay? Now, do those constructs work? Sure, they work, because the human body itself is a construct. And so, we take those constructs and we create technologies, we ask these questions, etc. But if you totally get this idea, and I hope you do, then sun, moon, stars, galaxies, universe are constructs. Just that. Now, based on that construct, we can ask this question: when our sun fades into oblivion, so at some point in that construct, the sun will exhaust its thermonuclear energy and disappear into the heat death of absolute zero. So what will happen to life as we know it? Life as we know it as the construct, human body, mind, mosquitoes, leopards, cheetahs, dogs, wolves, foxes, trees, plants, rocks, minerals, will fade out too. They will cease to exist. But life itself, which is consciousness, which is constantly evolving, and remember, I'm explaining this only in human terms because I'm a human, right? There's no other way to explain it. So life, as pure consciousness, is constantly displaying certain activities. And these activities are recursion, which means it repeats itself and recycles its behavior. Evolution, even as it recycles its behavior, it evolves. And then creative interactivity or sentience, as it interacts with its own self, it evolves as knowers, modes of knowing, and objects known. As observers, modes of observation and objects observed, all within itself. Okay? Same thing, seers, modes of seeing, and scenery. On and on. So if you understand this, then we'll understand the ancient Hindu concept or Eastern concept of kalpas and yugas. So a yuga is a long stretch of time in which what we observe and we as observers experience ourselves as a collective consciousness. So the yugas are divided into, what do you call it? Sat Yuga, where creativity is maximum. Kal Yuga, where entropy or disorder is maximum. It's thought that today and these days we are living in Kal Yuga, the Dark Ages. So Sat Yuga is the most creative age. Then there's Treta Yuga, there's Dwarpa Yuga, there is Kal Yuga. And this is a yuga which is part of a kalpa, a huge expanse of time, almost unimaginable. And this kalpa is, in a sense, the breathing in of cosmic consciousness. Metaphorically speaking, breathing in, and then the breathing out, and then dissolution, which is the gap between the breaths, and then breathing out again. So to answer your question, life as we know it will cease, but then life as we know it will recur and evolve. And just like when dinosaurs disappeared, we evolved as human beings. As we disappear, perhaps we will evolve as superhumans, angels, whatever we can think of, and our imagination. Because imagination is also an aspect of human consciousness. So life itself will never disappear. The forms and the shapes that life takes will constantly evolve and change. Remember Rumi's poem, first I was a mineral and I was asleep, then I was a plant and I was dreaming, then I was an animal and I started to wake up, and then I was a human and I became self-aware. Okay, so what happens after we are humans? Maybe angels, and maybe beyond. What happens after we are angels, we can't even imagine, because in order to get there, we would have to have the imagination of an angel. So everything I've told you is a human construct, right? It's a story. Is the story true? Well, if you think it's true, then it's true. If collective consciousness thinks it's true, then it's true. But what is the fundamental reality? The fundamental reality is that consciousness in an eternal now, which is not even a moment in time, consciousness is in an eternal now, is experiencing itself as form and phenomena, and is bubbling up with sensations, images, feelings and thoughts, and then we as humans are creating stories around them. And the stories work. The story at one time was the divine story, God created the universe, then it was a Newtonian classical physics story, then it was a relativistic story, and then general and special theories of relativity, then it became a quantum story, and now we're even questioning that and saying, what is the real story? And the answer is, there is no real story. As we evolve, our stories evolve, and then we construct ourselves into the experience that is the story. Consciousness conceives, governs, constructs, and becomes the story it conceived and imagined. Now, I know a lot of fundamentalists, whether they are religious fundamentalists or scientific fundamentalists, will argue with this, and that's okay. They can argue with this. Philip Urso says, loving new book. Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much. The book is about the human universe as we now experience it. So our stories will evolve. We will experience our stories. As consciousness conceives, constructs, governs, and becomes the story, we become part of the story. Who are we in reality? Well, who we are in reality is beyond all constructs. Who we are in reality is the consciousness in which those constructs evolve as stories. Scientific stories, mythical stories, religious stories, theological stories, all systems of thought. But reality cannot be a system of thought. Reality cannot be a system of thought. Reality is that in which thought was created, and then in that thought system a story was created, a construct was created, which then became our experiential reality as humans. That's it. Please join this discussion. It's very interesting, and I learn as much as as you do, because I have to think and reflect and meditate on your questions. And now Menas and I, as authors, are also asking you questions, and we want your opinion. Helen Johnson says, my 5-year-old granddaughter and I had this conversation recently, having experienced the opening of a fossil exhibition in Big Bend National Park. She reminded me that humans did not live 100 million years ago. Yeah, that's the human story, right? Based on looking at a fossil right now. Okay, she's a wise soul. Yes, all children are wise souls. Thanks, Helen. This is a good comment, and I'm glad that you made this observation. Okay, thank you, and God bless. God, as we use the word God, is a human construct. The only God there is the pure consciousness in which all these constructs are conceived. Thank you, and have a great day.